Today we will explore very important features of pivot tables, called calculated fields and calculated items. These features add calculated rows and columns, from existing rows and columns, in the pivot table. We hope you enjoy and understand our tutorial. So, let's look at our data. We have these 4 columns, in an Excel sheet. For the purpose of simplicity, and better understanding, we chose a small data set. First of all, we will create a pivot table, from this data. To create a pivot table, first we will select the range or table, from which we want to create a pivot table. Next, we will go to the Insert tab. On the Insert tab, we will click on the Pivot Table button and choose, from Table or Range option. This will display a pivot table window. On this window you can define the table or range, from where you want to create the pivot table. Then you can define the location of the pivot table. We will create our pivot table on a new worksheet. You can also choose to add this data to the data model from here. Finally, you can click on the OK button to create the pivot table. We will drag the amount field to the values area. From Value Field Settings, we will change the name of the field to Amount. Column name cannot be the same as field name, however we can add a space to keep them same. We can also format the numbers from this window. We will choose the accounting format without decimal points and symbol. We will now click the OK button, to apply the formatting. We will then add the branch field to the column area, and the type, and product category fields to the rows area. We can remove the rows above the pivot table. Let's rename the column and row labels appropriately. We can hide the blank columns and rows, by unchecking them from the drop-down. We can add calculated fields and items, from Pivot Table Analyze tab. Here, in the Fields Items and Sets button, there are both options. Let's create a calculated field first. Let's calculate tax on our sales. Tax will be calculated 17% on sales, which is the amount column. We will multiply the amount field to a -0.17. After entering the formula, and choosing the appropriate title for our calculated field, we will press the Add button, to add the field to our pivot table. Let's change the title of the calculated field, from Sum of Tax, to Tax. We now have the tax calculation available, in total as well as branch-wise breakup. A calculated item can be added on the columns side as well as the rows side. Let's suppose the East branch had donated 25% of its sales proceeds. We will create a calculated item to adjust the sales and tax for East branch. Let's call it Donation. Donation, as mentioned earlier, is 25% of East branch sales, and it will be a negative value, because it will reduce the sales revenue by 25%. So here it is. Both sales and tax amount is adjusted for donation. Revenue has been reduced by 25%, and the tax is added back because it was calculated on 100% revenue, rather than 75%, 25% being donated. Similarly, we can add calculated items on rows side as well. Suppose we are offering discounts on cash sales. Let's add cash discount using a calculated item. Let's enter the name of our cash discount item. Cash discount will be 5% of cash sales amount, and it will be a negative value, because it reduces the sales revenue. And here is the adjustment for cash discount, calculated on both products, using a calculated item. As mentioned earlier, we can hide the unwanted rows and columns such as blank, by unchecking them from the drop-down filters. Here is our final report, after adding a calculated field, and 2 calculated items. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked our tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials and updates.